Hi, it's Terry. Today we're making Snack Shack hot pads. They're so much fun to make. No seams and no applique. Let's get started. I cut my fabric shapes and let's stack them up. It's important to stitch right down the center of the tire, so I've marked a dot in the center. I'll use the 45-degree line on my ruler, and now I'm going to mark my first stitching line. And I'm using a friction pen so that later the mark that I made will erase with the heat of the iron. I'm stitching diagonal lines every 3/8 of an inch, and there's no need to draw those lines. I can just use the edge of my foot as a guide. When you cross over to another color, make sure you slow down and double check that the layers aren't getting flipped over. At the end, I'm just going to put a scrap here and stitch across the scrap so that I don't have so many thread tails to worry about. Next thing to do is to cut in between the lines of stitching. The base layer is bigger all the way around, so it's real easy to see where you should start cutting. You can use a sharp, pointy scissors and cut all the way down, or you can use the Olfa chenille cutter. Either way, you just need to cut in between each row. I've trimmed my edges up and I just cut off that base layer. You can see where things were a little crooked. It all gets trimmed off and it looks really great. Next thing is to round the corners of the camper. In the pattern, we have a template for you. There's a small and a large corner, or you can use the Creative Grids curved corner cutter. And with the corner cutter, all you have to do is rotary cut right around the edge and you get those corners trimmed right off. There we go. Look how cute the camper's getting. Bias binding is used for smooth curves. For more binding information, watch Terry's tips how to bind a curve. Now I've stitched my bias binding to the front of the hot pad, and then I'm going to fold it around to the back and steam it in place. And as I steam it, I'm just going to pull and make sure that it's crossing the line of stitching. I've got my binding all steamed into place and it's laying really nice and flat. Now I'm just going to put some wonder clips around the edge just to hold it in place, and then I can go to the sewing machine and stitch it down. I'm stitching in the ditch, which means I'm stitching right next to the binding, and I'm catching that layer underneath. Toss your finished hot pad into the washing machine and dryer to fluff up the chenille. Oops, if you missed a row when you were cutting, just start cutting right in the middle where the colors meet each other. You'll need to use the scissors to cut all the way up to the edge. You'll need to wash and dry again to fluff up these remaining rows. Thanks for watching. Now it's time to go and make another one.